everybody. We're here on the red carpet at Red Emma's at the 2600 block of St. Paul Street. And we're here for the Baltimore Women's Film Festival. And we are interviewing
Marissa Cohen.
And you're...
I'm one of the festival directors and organizers.
Now, it must have been very difficult putting this thing together. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, it's the first year of the festival, and so we are kind of getting our ground footing, but we have a fantastic array of films from female directors and female writers, and we also have some great support from the city this year. We've had a lot of companies come out and, help us with prize donations and sponsorships, and we've had a lot of attendees today, so that's been great.
And you say this is the first annual?
Yes, it's the first
annual. Are you going to get up to 100?
I hope I live that long. I mean, unless we do one every day, right?
But they're going to have to pay you a whole lot more for the next one, right?
Right.
And you have with you one of the filmmakers here.
Hi, I'm Shauna Lauren, and I directed the film What Do I Call the Woman Who Gave Birth to Me?
What do you call the woman who gave birth to you?
That's the question of the film. It's about my adoption reunion. I was adopted, so I reunited with my birth mother, biological mother, whatever you want to call her, and it's about our relationship.
And are you a Maryland filmmaker?
I am. I live in Tacoma Park, Maryland.
Okay. And was the film actually made in Maryland as well?
The film was made in Maryland. It was shot some in Florida, and then everything else was done in Maryland.
With local actors?
No, it's a documentary. So I'm local.
Okay, with local locations anyway.
Yes, local locations, and the person who did the camera is my best friend, but she's local, so local help, and with the help of American University in Washington, D.C.
Very good film school there. Is this the first showing of your film?
This is not the first showing. It's been in 2 other festivals. One was a women's film festival, but I have to say that Marissa and Diane, I think, have done the best job of organizing a festival that it's been in. They've been really supportive and communicative, and this turnout's great for a Saturday at 1:30.
Now, Marissa, did I get that right?
Yes.
Oh, I'm known for not saying names correctly. This particular event goes on both today and tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow we're screening at the Baltimore Museum of Art, so that should be a totally different atmosphere, but a very nice place to screen movies.
Are they the same filmmakers or a different group?
A whole different group of films. We tried to program a really wide variety of different films, so we have we're screening docs today and docs tomorrow. And then we have tomorrow comedy.
It almost feels like you're talking about medical docs.
Medical docs. Hopefully docs will watch the docs.
That works for me. That works for me. In case you haven't noticed, we're here on the red carpet, and there are people coming and going to this event. Shauna, how much support did you get? How were you able to film your particular documentary? What was your budget?
It was no budget. My friend...
A true local filmmaker.
Yes, it's true, no budget. I got buddy passes through JetBlue from someone in order to fly down and go to Florida to film with Michelle, who's my biological mother. I rented equipment from American University. I edited at my job after hours, so literally no budget. And I used music. I begged independent bands to use their music in my films, so it was...
What is your background in making films? Did you go to the film school there? Or?
I do go to getting a master's, an MFA in filmmaking, and I work now as an editor. So.
And Marissa, what's your background that brought you to actually organize this type of event?
I've been organizing other festivals for about 7 years now, so I've been working on a variety of film festivals, but I've never worked on a film festival that has been for women's films. And also, this festival is giving half of all proceeds to breast cancer support and treatment. So this is the first time I've worked organizing a festival with a charitable angle. So we hopefully are raising lots of money for breast cancer. And it's also, October is breast cancer month. So a great time to be raising more money for breast cancer.
Now I have to ask you, will they let me in? Will they let men into the women's film festival?
I all a bunch in there.
Okay.
We
Do
have
I have to be
costume
accompanied?
for
Or
you.
No, I think here.
you have a costume? I have to
Yeah,
wear
we
a
have a
costume? Do I have to
dress
show
for
my
you to
legs?
wear
Is
at the
it?
door.
I have nice looking legs. As usual at most of our remote locations, other than the people walking back and forth in the background, also hear the traffic noise because we are outside here at St. Paul Street at St. John's Church at Red Emma's. Now, you've been standing here holding these flowers for this long. Are they for me, for Shauna? Or?
No, they're for me.
Okay. And how did you come about these flowers?
One of our volunteers for the festival gave some flowers to us just for organizing the event and just to thank us for all the work, I guess. And we're going to put them out and use it as some ambiance for our reception. We're about to have some free food, wine, and
Talk a little bit about a reception.
Okay. It's what's coming up next after these screenings. We have cake. Well, actually, this is interesting. We have Brussels sprouts, which are cancer preventative. They're called Brussels
Okay.
sprouts. So they're sprouts, but instead of just giving someone a handful of sprouts, they're in little wraps.
Have you tasted
So-
these? Have you tasted them, Shauna?
I have not. They
Are you looking forward to it?
Usually, well, I'm vegetarian, and they always put sprouts on things. When you're vegetarian, I usually take them off.
Oh, no. Not cancer preventative
Exactly.
sprouts. though.
Yeah, exactly. The cancer preventative
eat them.
sprouts might
Yeah.
need to cook.
Now, this film festival couldn't come about just by your efforts. You must have had a lot of help. Who helped you?
Yeah, we've had a lot of local businesses support the festival. Red Emma's is a sponsor. Visit My Baltimore. And Brassica, they're the company that make the Brussels sprouts and the tea that's cancer preventative, has been a supporter. And then we've had a lot of the stores in Hamden signed on as advertisers, and also some Baltimore.
Hamden. Is that the Cafe Hun?
No, not the cafe. Some boutiques over there advertised.
Sorry, I only know the restaurants. I don't know the boutiques.
And then we're having a silent auction. We're giving out some prizes from some of our sponsors. So we're giving out tickets to the symphony, the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra, and also the Art Museum, and some other people were kind enough to donate prizes.
And Shauna, have you donated perhaps a walk-on in your next film?
Good idea.
There you go.
Great idea.
There you go. And is that all, or were there other sponsors as well?
Also, USS Constellation and Top were also supportive in providing prizes. So that was a great assistance.
And there had to be other sponsors as well, correct?
Right. The National Blacks in Wax, and also California Kitchen and the USS Constellation also supported.
Now, at your event later, are you having pizza?
Pizza's not healthy enough
I
for
guess
us, so
Then I won't come. Well, I understand you're going to make this an annual event. You're doing it again next year and for the next 98 after that, if we live. But in any case, what are some of the contact information if they want to help you?
Okay, great. We have a website. It's www.bwfilmfestival.com. BW as in Baltimore Women's Film Festival.com. If you go on the website, it gives information how to submit a film, if you want your film to potentially screen with us, how to sponsor, how to buy tickets, all those good things.
Shauna, how hard was it to actually submit a film?
It was very easy. They made it very simple, straightforward, informative website. A+.
Now, even a guy can figure it out?
Even a guy could figure it out.
Good.
Might need a woman's help.
Well, Shauna, tell us, now that you've been successful in actually getting one of your films screened, what's next for you?
Like I said, I'm just working as an editor right now, so I'm working on a couple projects there.
Are you working as an editor being paid?
I am being paid.
Much better, right?
Yes,
Much
yes. So no plans for independent films right now, but maybe in the future. Right now, I'm just concentrating on editing. I like that better.
You can always change your mind.
And I will never, ever again put myself in front of a camera, except for at this moment.
Okay, you've seen the last of Shauna on film. How about you, Marissa?
Well, I'm
Not being on film again, but your next project.
I'm still organizing other festivals. So I organize a high technology film festival that screens all.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah, films that were shot in high definition video. So I'm still working on that, and we have different events this year with that festival. But after that, hopefully I'll be organizing the next Baltimore Women's Film Festival for next year.
That sounds very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, during that break, Marissa had to leave, but we now have with us one of the founders, co-founders,
Yes.
and your name is?
My name is Deanna Shapiro. I'm a co-founder of the Baltimore Women's Film Festival and am involved in research at Johns Hopkins.
Now, what is it that you're researching?
Well, right now my primary focus is prostate cancer, but I became involved with the Johns Hopkins Avon Foundation Breast Center because I worked for somebody who had a research grant in breast cancer.
Okay, so I should call you Dr. Diane?
No, definitely not. I don't have a PhD or an MD.
Don't you like the name?
Oh, I love the name, but
Then I'll call you
wouldn't-
Dr. Diane, okay?
Okay.
There you go. Now, Diane, tell us how
Deanne.
much... Deanne.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I knew I'd mess up somebody's name. I always do. I always do. Now, tell us more about your involvement and how much work you had to put into this event.
Because Marissa's office is in Florida, I was the grounds person, so I would field the phone calls.
You cut the grass and that sort of thing? Or?
Well, no. I fielded phone calls. I got all of the items that we needed together for the festival. I was the P.O. box. I was the person who basically organized it and got us involved with the Johns Hopkins Avon Foundation Breast Center, because it was my idea, it was Marissa's idea to have a women's film festival. It was my idea to do it in support of the breast cancer awareness.
And how much do you hope to raise for the breast cancer awareness?
As much as we absolutely can.
7 figures?
10.
10 figures? I can't even count that.
15 figures.
10 figures. That's billions, I would guess, at least.
Absolutely.
Can the room hold that many people?
We'll have to move rooms.
How do you think the festival's going to this point?
We have received so much enthusiasm from the people of Baltimore. We have sold out our second screening today, and
So there's no room for me?
well, there's always room for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But
Well, how about tomorrow?
we're hoping for as much success.
Okay, but it's not sold out yet.
Not yet.
But it will be.
Hopefully.
It will be. Now, I understand you have to get back in.
I do.
So we're going to let you go. We're going to take another break, and we'll be right back. Hello again, this is Jerry Gietka at the Women in Film Festival in Baltimore at Red Emma's on the red carpet. And we're here interviewing
Cathy Carey,
Cathy Carey, and your film is being screened
tomorrow
at the...
Baltimore Museum of Art.
And tell us about your film.
It's called Reflections of a Life. It's a love story about a woman who has seen her share of heartache only to discover she has breast cancer.
So it fits in with the sponsors of the event.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Is it a documentary? Is it a...
No, it's a dramatic short film, and I wrote and directed the film. I also star in the film with Linda Gray from the TV show Dallas, and Fred Lane from the TV show, also from Dallas, but he was also on Lost and Supernatural.
And how did you manage to get them into your film?
Oh, they're old friends.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I take it you're not a local filmmaker.
No, I'm from Los Angeles.
No way. Now, what brought you to Baltimore?
The film festival.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very, very interesting. Tell us how difficult it was to make your film.
Well, once I got the script written and I got my stars
involved. You wrote it as well?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
And I got my stars involved. It wasn't that difficult to make at all. It was really quite simple because I set it all in one location. It's really, because it's called Reflections of a Life, because it's really set in one location. It's in the woman's bathroom. It's a very reflective, internal story about what goes on in this woman's life once she's diagnosed with this disease and how it affects herself internally and her relationships with her friends and her family.
Now, I have to ask, how long is the film if they never leave the bathroom?
30 minutes.
30 minutes. Well, now that you've been to Baltimore, what did you think of Baltimore?
I love it. The weather here has been very accommodating. It's been lovely, and the city is so interesting. I've never been here before.
Oh, really?
And I spent the day yesterday exploring, driving around, looking at the sites, and I just love it. I want to come back.
Okay, and tomorrow at the BMA, the Baltimore Museum of Art.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see how you compare that to something that you have out in L.A.
It will be interesting for me to see how I can compare that. Yes, it will.
Well, your film is being shown tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen the films today. What did you think of those?
I thought they were very interesting, very intriguing, and very well done, thoughtful. I particularly liked the unsworn versions. Wow. Who knew that there were parts of the world where women had no rights and were treated still, in this day and age, as possessions?
Well, that leads me to a very interesting question that I have to ask. Women filmmaker as opposed to men making films. What's the difference in your mind?
Well, I think that women will approach a subject matter in a slightly different way. They view the world in a slightly different way.
You're probably right. If a man had made a film in a bathroom, he'd probably been there much longer.
Right. Well, this is true too, but I think we each have our own little variations on the way we view the world, and on the way we view life, and on the way we view relationships, and so we're going to come at all of those things from our own take, our own slightly different viewpoint, and that's going to make for a different film.
And your next project?
I'm making this short film into a full-length feature entitled 1 in 9.
Will Linda Gray be in that as well?
She will.
Oh, wow. That's very nice. Can I be in that one as well?
Well, maybe.
I can get to L.A.
Okay.
I'll be there.
All
I'll be
right.
there. We want to thank you for spending some time with us and talking about your film.
Oh, you're welcome.
And I can't wait to see it.
I can't wait to have you see it.
Great. Now, we'll be right back after this message. This is Jerry Gietka, and we're on a short break from watching some of the films of the Baltimore Women's Film Festival, and we're here with
Jessica.
Jessica. Tell us, what did you think of some of the films that you just saw?
I thought they were magnificent.
Now, you're not a filmmaker, right?
I am not a filmmaker.
You're an audience.
I'm an audience.
Most important part.
I think audience is a very important part of filmmaking. And I think there should be more audience. We had a great turnout here today, but this is something that should really be supported. And I'm just really...
Now, are you into the films in some way, or?
Well, I am a photographer myself
Okay.
and a writer, but I don't do the moving pictures. Mine are all,
So tell us again, what did you think of the specific films?
Specifically, they were all, it was such a broad spectrum.
What did you think of these particular films that you saw? Which one was your favorite?
I don't know, it was my favorite. It was such a broad spectrum of films, and some of them were very eye-opening. I found Behind Closed Doors was very eye-opening, even though I know a lot about the mental health system in Baltimore. This, give you another view, and I can't remember all the names of the movies.
That's all right, I can't either. Now, of course, the films today were in support of breast cancer. Now, did you know that the proceeds from what we're seeing from the Baltimore Women's Film Festival are going to support research into women's breast cancer?
I did know that, and I think that encouraged me and my friend all the more to come.
Are you coming back tomorrow for the things over at the Baltimore Museum of Art?
I would love to, but I'm
Well,
afraid
maybe
I'm
I'll see you
babysitting.
there. Well, I don't want to see you there if you're bringing the babies. Me and babies don't get along too well. Thank you, Jessica, for sharing your thoughts on what you saw in the films, and we'll be right back.
I'm Joy Foley. I'm 25 and I'm from New York, the city. And And I've only seen one program today, but I will be seeing more tomorrow and going to the mega party tonight. So I'm very excited. All the documentaries I saw were very, very good. So that was good. Well worth my VIP pass. Absolutely hope that Baltimore will come out for the Women's Film Festival because it is fabulous and it is cultural and it is fun.
I'm Mary Gardner, and among other things, I have also made some documentaries. I've been very impressed with the documentaries that you've shown here, and also impressed that women are getting a forum for their work. So I just applaud it and hope that there's more to come.
Hello again, everybody. This is Jerry Gietka, and we're outside of Red Emma's, where we just saw the screening of some new films, and we're speaking with
Suzanne Needland. I'm from Florida.
Suzanne is from Florida. How did you end up in Baltimore at the Baltimore Women's Film Festival?
Well, it's actually sort of an interesting story because I started a MySpace page for my film, Miss Lil's Camp, and Marissa Cohen, who is the co-director of this festival, I guess she was surfing the MySpace pages and she
Well, if you're
found
in
my
Florida, you
film.
can surf more than MySpace, right?
That's true.
There you
That's
go.
true. So actually, she connected with me on MySpace and asked for a screener, and the rest is history.
Well, tell us about your film.
The film is a 26-minute documentary, and it's about a woman named Lillian Smith. And in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, she had a wonderful camp in Georgia. And she was a white woman, and she had all of these young girls from affluent families come to her camp. And she challenged them to open their eyes when they went back into society and question segregation, Jim Crow laws. She just turned their world around. So it was just she was on the forefront of civil rights. Lillian Smith was a friend of Martin Luther King. She was just an amazing woman that has been left out of the history books, for the most part.
Incredible. Incredible. How were you able to bring about your project? I mean, from beginning to end. Did you write it yourself as well? Or?
I have a co-director, Ambryn Pasha, and this is actually a master's thesis project. I decided to go back to school and get my graduate degree in documentary filmmaking. And then what we did was we contacted a lot of the women that attended the camp who are now in their 70s and 80s, and we brought them back to the campgrounds. And we interviewed them. We have archival footage, some very rare archival footage that nobody's seen before. And then we interviewed these women who just brought Lillian Smith and the camp back together. So, and Ambryn Pasha, my co-director, unfortunately can't be here, but I'm here representing the film.
That's a shame. How did you manage to pull it off? I mean, what funding did you have? What equipment did you get? Or did you do all of this strictly from your classes? Or?
Well, the funding, we were given a small stipend from the university, and the rest was a lot of hard work and a lot of hours in the editing room, and we did it all ourselves. But we did it for very, very little bit of money, and I bought my camera.
You sound very passionate about this issue. How did you find out about it in the first place?
We found out about it in researching Southern writers, and my co-director, who is, believe it or not, she's from India, who came over here and was just fascinated with Southern writers. So she started looking into writers. We found Lillian Smith, and we both agreed she was fascinating, but when we found out about the camp, we realized that's what we needed to focus on.
Now, I've heard you mention your co-director, the writer, and they're all women. Were there any men involved in the project at all?
We actually did have a couple of guys that we brought along to as part of the crew, and I wasn't even sure how they would feel about it, to be honest with you, because it was such a woman's story. But they became fascinated with Lillian Smith. They loved the women that we interviewed, and so we had men. Yeah, we don't discriminate.
What did you personally get out of this project?
I grew so much because not only was I learning how to do a documentary from start to finish, but it was fascinating to learn how to become. It was fascinating to be part of these women's lives. For them to open up to you is so special, so different than narrative, so different than fiction. When you're talking to people about their real life experiences, when they're trusting you. I stay in touch with all of the women today. Lillian Smith is no longer alive, But now I have this real responsibility for her legacy. And schools are requesting this film. They want it as part of their programs for women's studies, for history. It's
Really?
just been, I can't even describe it really. It's been an enormously important to me for not only personally but as a filmmaker, and what projects I'm going to choose going forward to see how people are affected.
Well, if we're able to find someone else who's interested in using this film for some of their projects, how would they contact you?
Well, we have a website, which is www.misslilscamp.com, and that would be terrific. We have universities requesting us to come and show the film a lot. So,
Well, I want to thank you for spending some time with me.
I want to thank you
and
for spending
telling us
time with me.
about this film that sounds not only interesting but emotionally impacting as well.
Can I say one more thing? I think
Sure.
that it is emotionally impacting, and I think that it is, even though it's an historical film, it has so much relevance today because the word tolerance comes up over and over again. And after the film, I love seeing the audience respond because they do question their own feelings about discrimination, no matter what we're talking about, whether it's race or gender or it's tolerance, and that's why it's important.
Well, you notice, of course, the noise in the background because we're out here as usual on a
They were
remote
applauding.
location.
They recognized me.
I'm glad you took it that way.
Let's have this little piece. I like this idea. Say, and we understand a little amusing story with you and our producer, and you actually were responsible for us being here in the first place. And let her tell what happened. Okay, and action, Jerry.
I understand there's an interesting story about how you were involved in our being here.
Well, yes, I was in New York City about 2 weeks ago, and I met your producer, Loretta, who was I guess feeling better. She was having to sit down because her foot was broken, right, Loretta? I think your foot was broken. But I was at IFP in New York, and I met Loretta, your producer, and I happened to say, when she told me she was from Baltimore, I said, my gosh, I'm going to be there for a film festival, which she wasn't quite aware of, and I said, well, we have to introduce you to the director. And she said, I'll be there. So,
And here we are.
yeah. Florida, New York, Baltimore.
Here we are at the Baltimore Women's Film Festival, Red Emma's on the red carpet at St. John's Church on St. Paul Street in beautiful downtown Baltimore. Now, you're not from Baltimore. What do you think of Baltimore?
I think Baltimore is wonderful. Coming from South Florida and being here in this gorgeous fall day with the crisp weather, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I'm looking forward to spending some time this afternoon exploring.
And you must have been here a little while because your tan is just starting to fade a little bit.
Yeah, right. I'm originally from Wilmington, Delaware, so it's really as a
So
kid.
you're close to-
And it's just wonderful feeling, really is. And it's so nice to have a women's film festival here, and for such a great cause. I mean, I hope this continues for years to come.
I'm not familiar with what's going on around the country in that regard, but is this the only women's film festival and Baltimore has it?
No. I don't know
But this
that
is the best
Baltimore
one,
has
right?
any. This is a fantastic one. The films that I just saw were top rate. I mean, really good films. And tomorrow we have another full day of films, and I think they've done a great job programming
And
them.
yours is showing at the Baltimore Museum of Art at
Yes.
11.
It's part of the documentary showcase starting at 11 o'clock tomorrow.
11 o'clock.
Yes. So,
Well, thank you again for spending some time with us and talking about your film.
thank you.
Can't wait to see it.
Good. Hope to see you. You better be there.
I'll be there. I don't know if I'll be there that early. I don't wake up quite that early. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.